Today in the studio, folks, I've got a real motherfucking treat for you. Jayson Waller. What's cracking, Jayson?
Bam! Thanks for the intro, Brad. Appreciate it.
If you guys don't know this dude, you're about to, and you're going to want to start following him on social media at Jayson Waller, BAM, B-A-M, just like it sounds, except for Jayson is J-A-Y-S-O-N. Jayson Waller, BAM, on IG. If you guys ever heard of Power Home, the business, powerhome.com is where you can check that out. Solar business. This dude started it 6 years ago, is about to hit $1 billion in revenue. Valued at some ungodly amount. It's not your first business either, is it?
Nope, third one.
Now, you grew up in a trailer park.
That's correct.
Dropped out of high school.
Yes.
The true definition of an underdog.
I would say so, yes.
Parents poor?
Parents were poor.
Split up?
No, they're still together. They just didn't finish high school either.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, blue collar.
So are they, but they're still together.
Still together.
Oh, see? So you had it made in the shade.
I did.
You grew up rich.
Yeah, because they stayed together, but we were poor.
That's right. Well, there's people out there that always want to, figure out why you got to succeed and they didn't. And it's because, well, your parents never divorced. That's why you're not a fucking
Someone
loser.
will find an excuse somewhere, I'm sure.
Indeed.
But that's why I have a love your haters. You got to love the haters. It's what grows us.
So this dude's got a podcast. If you guys haven't heard it, go check it out. It's called the True Underdog Podcast. It's like in the top 5 or top 3 of entrepreneurship.
Top 3, baby. I passed Gary V.
No shit.
What do you want me to do? I passed him. It's not my fault.
But this guy's bringing on big time guests because of his freaking success. He's literally drawing in the big wigs, and you basically share motivational tips, underdog stories, shit like this, kind of like dropping bombs.
Very similar to this. I love this show because it's just shooting the shit, like you say, and you find those gems, you find those moments where people can hold on to that and make a difference in their life. And that's what the True Underdog podcast does well.
Yeah. So going from like no money to where you started making some decent coin, did you go nuts, buy the Lambos, the Ferraris, the houses?
So true story. So, when I went from nothing and started making money, I remember building my first house. I was like, holy shit, we're building our first home. This is so exciting. It was like a $400,000 home, but I was excited. I was like, we're building our first home, and going through all that and then buying a Hummer and all these things. It was really cool. But then that wasn't really coin. I thought that was coin. It was making a few $100,000 a year, but it wasn't money, big money. And then so fast forward, I get out of that business and I make a few $1 million selling the security business. I get into solar and I lose my ass. First 2 years, didn't make any money, didn't have a paycheck, sold my home, put it all into the business and the money I made from the alarm business back in and bet on myself. Fired 80% of the staff, started doing shit on my own, and finally started to take off and make money. When I started to make serious money, I used to make fun of my business partner because when we sold the home security business, he only had 5% equity in the company. I had about 33, and we had 2 other partners. He took the $250,000 he made and bought a Lambo. I made over $1 million, like 1.5. I was, putting a pool in, paying off my house. He goes and buys a Lamborghini. I started making fun of him, calling it SD energy. You know what I'm talking about. When you're driving a Lambo, you got SD energy, right? Things aren't
small dick for those.
There you go. There you
go.
So I was like, look, like I would make fun of him. So then when I started to make serious jack, and the company was, doing a few $100 million in sales, and, we did a couple capital events where we took some chips off the table, and I was to a point where I was like, look, I'm going to buy my wife. I found out I was going to be a grandpa at 39. And I said, I'm going to buy my wife the Ferrari she wants. So I did that. When I found out I was going to be a grandpa, I dyed my hair blonde and I started going nuts. I bought Lambo and Ferrari and Rolls Royce. I did that. It's only a couple years ago. I found out when you do that, there's no fireworks, there's no people dancing, there's no fucking horses jumping. It's nothing special. In fact, the Lamborghini Aventador isn't even a great car to fucking drive. I sold it and got a Porsche Taycan Turbo, which is an electric car, and I started to be a little bit more humble and not buy as much shit. But I did go through that. When you don't have anything, you go through that, and then you got to really reset yourself and go, okay, I don't need to be spending money like crazy.
Why do you think you have to do it?
I think that you get the pressure of you've never had it before. You've always like chased something. Like I love to win, but there was a time I've never chased money. But when you get money, you're like, what would it be like, to drive that? And my wife is the car person, not me. Like she's always wanted the Ferrari and always wanted a Lambo. What?
Which Ferrari?
She got the 488 Spider.
Nice.
It was nice. She only kept it like 6 months. But then she was like, it's not for me. It wasn't practical. We have 4 kids. It's not practical to drive around and shit like that. But to say I did it, okay, it was an experience. But my advice would be, you don't have to do that. Flying private, that's worth it, right?
Yeah.
Buying a jet, yeah, of course, that's the way to do things. But to really like spend
Did you
money,
get one yet?
No, I fly private a lot, but I haven't bought a jet yet. I buy the hours.
Dude, from the guy upstairs is a billionaire. He said, I've owned many of them. He said, do not buy it. It's not worth it, period.
Yeah.
He said, you just freaking go jet share with somebody.
Yeah.
The only difference is you can't put your name on the tail. So unless you want your name on the tail, jet share is the way to go.
GC makes it look good, right?
GC does make it
look good. But I don't care. I don't need to. My family likes to fly private. It's a different experience when you do it. If you haven't done it, it's like, well, we got to do this all the time. So they expect it every single time. And it's like, guys, we don't need to do it every single time.
Name a time you wouldn't.
Flying from Michigan to Charlotte real quick for a weekend doesn't make sense. But if especially if it's only like 2 or 3 of us, because we have, our 4 kids and then I have 2 grandkids. And then my daughter has my future ex-son-in-law who's also there. So, I mean, it's like 9 deep. Well, if we're all going to go somewhere, private makes sense. If it's just 2 or 3 of us, it doesn't make sense. Get first class and go.
I don't know about that, dude.
I don't know. 2 or 3. I fly the big jets. I don't like the little jets. It's got to have a bathroom. It's got to have I need a stewardess. I need food on the plane. I like to go big. So if I just got 2 of us, I feel wasteful.
Well, dude, I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'll take the little trips private. They're 10, 20 G's. It's when they're like, that'll be 95,000. I think, well, shit, now I'll go first class.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because it's a long flight. I want stewardesses. I want to be able to frickin', sleep. But to be honest, man, if I was at a different level, a level like you're at, I'd be flying private permanently.
Well, my wife would like that you said that because she would like to do it every single time.
If you can afford it, dude, you're crazy not to.
Sometimes it seems wasteful. You
Wasteful
got to
how?
I don't know. There's a reason why, Buffett doesn't have all the nicest shit.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but
Yes,
there's a
he
reason.
does.
Well, sometimes
He's
they
got
don't.
private jets, dude.
Yeah,
Everyone always uses Buffett as the example. Dude, first of all, he's fucking 100. Second of all, it doesn't matter. He's not going to, he's cool because he's Warren Buffett. I guarantee you, though,
right.
He has a fucking jet. He has several jets.
Well, I can tell you after we go public, this deal that we've been working on recently, that we're going to go public, do a SPAC or something, all that's in the works. I'll probably get a company jet where it feels good and the executives can use it and I can use it personally when I want, or buy more hours.
Yeah, but you know what you can also do? Especially right now, 2020 was the best time to do it, but you could have bought a jet for, let's say, 10 mil. Give that jet to a jet share agency, got about a 5 to 8% ROI on your money, and then when you needed it, you pay cost of, the cost.
Yeah.
So instead of, spending $7,000 an hour, you're spending $3,000 an hour.
Yeah.
So that's what I was almost talked into doing.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Let me know. Maybe we'll do that together.
Well, I just, again, I would be down as long as I got someone else in there with me. It's spendy, dude. I'm still freaking climbing the ladder, bro. I'm not doing $1 billion in revenue.
Well, Brad, you can't pay for memory. So maybe you're right? I'm a big believer of when I buy a car, like maybe it creates a memory. It doesn't. To me, it's wasteful. But when you travel, when we go to Disney for the last 10 years, we've always done the VIP
Host.
Tour guide, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know about that.
$4,500 a day.
Right. But if you don't do it, you don't know about it, you're missing out. Once you do it, you're fucking stuck. You do it
hooked.
every single time because nobody wants to stand in line and my time is valuable. So we get in and out, knock all the damn parks out in one day. And if we want to go a second day, we bullshit and eat and walk around and we don't care about it. That is a game changer, but that's the same thing. That's a memory. When you build a memory, there should be no cost tied to it. And that's how I feel like flying private is a memory. But the reason I have to do it on the long trips is I have 2 little grandkids. So it's a pain in the ass. 2 and 2 months.
And you're only 41?
41.
So you're like the freaking youngest grandpa in history.
I'm a gilf, dude.
When did you have your first kid?
I was 18.
See, I got you beat, 17.
I know. Oh, there you go.
And I am a grandpa now.
Congrats.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
I think that was the first time I've ever said it.
Woo.
Well, it just happened not too long ago.
Did you feel old when you found out you're going to be a grandpa?
Well, what's funny is I have another child on the way.
Oh, wow.
So my grandson is about to have what would that make him?
A nephew.
An aunt.
Or an aunt.
An aunt younger than him.
Yes.
Yeah. I got a new one coming in December.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah. I got.
Get to do it all over again.
Hey, that's what you get when you freaking like to, partake.
Well, I've got a partner, a business partner of mine that has 5 kids, and he says, he fucks and finishes. So,
Well, you got to give it to him then.
Yeah, I do.
7 kids from 4 women. Now, most people go, dude, that sounds like
that's you.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
They say that sounds
You've
like
got everyone beat. I know.
I know, but
Are you Mormon?
Explain. No.
Okay.
But here's what's crazy. I can explain, and when I explain it, it really doesn't sound that bad. But when I say it, everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's the trailer guy
so
right there."
Explain it. Even I gotta hear it. Go ahead.
I'm 17 years old. I know this girl. We grew up together. She turns out hotter than shit. I haven't seen her in a while, so I run into her. Hotter than hell. I keep hearing about this thing called sex. Figure I'll try it. So I try it once. Bam, pregnant.
Wow.
Well, there's one child. About a year and a half later, didn't do anything. Since then, I learned my lesson, right? About a year and a half later, boom, another girl. Bang, another baby. So I only did it twice, and now I've got 2 kids. I'm not even 19 yet.
Oh, wow.
So then I ended up in Las Vegas, got married, and had 2 boys. 2 girls the first 2, then 2 boys. And, I'm married, so obviously that's okay, right? And then she decided she wanted to be the boss of the family, which, I don't like that deal. So I quit and got married again. She wanted some babies. So I had 3 with her. So it's like 7 from 4 different girls, but like the first the first 2 were, everyone fucked in high school, didn't they?
I think so. I got 2 kids in high school. I hope not, but I think so.
Yeah. And it was just once, bang, once, bang.
Sounds like mine. So, I knocked my wife, she's my wife now, up, and, we had a tough time because her mom wanted us to give our daughter up for adoption.
Wow.
Wanted her to have an abortion. There was a huge fight, and then wanted to give her up for adoption. In fact, my book opens up with a how the fuck did I get here moment when I won the Entrepreneur of the Year award, and I'm overlooking. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And then I go back to when I was 18 years old, and I'm at the hospital, and I'm trying to see my daughter born, and I'm blocked. Her mom blocked because she was calling social service to try to give the kid up for adoption, and wouldn't let me come up there to see the baby born. So I was taking pictures of, this is back when you can go see the maternity or with the babies, and you were allowed to see them. So I was taking pictures with a Polaroid camera back in 98, wondering which kid was mine. And I was crying, right? I was like, what? Like, I was upset. So my life changed, and I had a daughter come into this world. Her life changed, and my life changed. I was like, create your own map. I'm not going to allow she's now my mother-in-law, dictate who the fuck I am, what I'm going to do in life, who I'm going to see, or me being a father. So I went and got an attorney. I sued for joint custody. My wife was left hanging. It was a bad story. Like, her mom called social services, then left, let her have the baby on her own. She was 17. She went and lived with her grandma. I got to see my daughter at a week old. Then we got back together. Me and my mother-in-law have a great relationship now, but it's taken a lot of time to build that. Yeah. And I wanted to prove her wrong, and where I'm using my black card and flying her all over the place and taking her on trips. I've already got that. I got the green check on that. We're good. But, that was the first kid. And then the second one, I have 4, was the only one that was planned. And she lets everybody know. My oldest is like, I'm number 1. And then my third child, which is my youngest daughter, is like, I'm the youngest daughter. And my son, who's like, I'm the baby. My second is like, I was the only one planned. The rest of you guys are accidents. And she makes it crystal clear. And she was planned because we were together. My oldest was 5. We were married and we had a kid. It was like, great. But then we felt we were done. And then my wife got pregnant again, and she was on birth control. And I'm like, oh boy. So 3 girls. And she's like, all right, we're done. You need to go get fixed. And we had this argument. And I said, I'm not getting fixed. I went back and forth. 3 years later, she got pregnant again. She threw stuff at me. She was pissed. She's like, go get fixed. I did. We had my son. That's it.
Boom. But then they started having babies.
And then my oldest had babies. So when she told me, that's when the midlife crisis kicked in of buying the cars, dyeing the hair, living on the edge a little bit more. I'm like, whoa, I'm a grandpa. I started getting a little weird feeling of how old I really was. It started to bother me.
Well, how does it make you feel that you're able to financially be there now?
It's fantastic. There's no other better feeling than to know you can take care of your family, your friends, your grandkids, the people that work for you. Helping people out and being able to financially support people, to me, is a great thing. Yeah. I wish I had that growing up, but then again, I don't wish, because I wouldn't be as tough skinned as I am, and I wouldn't be able to be as resilient as I am to get things done. But I love to give back. I love to see things. Now, it is hard growing up with nothing and then getting stuff, and then my kids growing up in this different kind of world, and I'm giving them everything and they're not really earning it. It's a hard balance. I mean, my kids are brats sometimes. I mean, it's a fact. Sometimes they're, they kick their feet and they got, problems that shouldn't even be a problem in life. Like, Dad, why am I in line for this? Or Dad, can I get a new G-Wagon? Like that kind of nonsense. And I just like, what is wrong with our kids? But
nothing. Mine are very similar.
But what else am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to make them tough it out? Like I'm torn.
A little bit, I would say.
So what I do is I told them if they graduate high school, I'll give you the pink slip to your card. It'll be paid off. If you go to college, because I never did, and you graduate college, I'll buy you a house paid for. You can own it. You can rent it, do whatever you want. Not your picking, but my picking. So my oldest didn't go to college, and that's okay. I don't think college is for everybody. I think if you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, something, college is great.
Yep.
But I have so many people that work for me have a college degree, and they wasted money because they don't use it. So I don't force my kids to go to college, but I entice them. I incentivize them to go. My oldest wanted to be a mom. She wants to own her own business, which I'm going to help her open, but she just wanted to be a great mom, and she is a great mom. So I can't bitch about that.
Yeah.
She's a little spoiled. She spends a little too much money where I get a little pissed. And her fiance, who is a great person and an awesome father. I mean, at 21, I wouldn't have been.
Is that your ex-son-in-law?
I call him my future ex-son-in-law. That's the key, right? Like they'll get married and then they won't. And he doesn't like that, but he knows I'm kidding.
It's funny.
But he's as good as it can be as a father. And that's hard to find at 21 years old. I mean, 21 years old, think about how you were as a dad. I'm like, dude, this guy
I was a dick.
He's like a Manny. Like he does everything. My girls are tough.
You said he's a Manning?
He's like a Manny. Like a man nanny. Like he does all of the stuff.
I thought you were saying Manning, like the Manning brothers.
No.
Well, if you ask me, I think it's important to not give them everything.
Yeah.
But I do give them things. Like I bought them all a car, but not real badass cars or anything crazy like that. I make them work. Yeah. I don't pay their rent. I don't really help them much. You know, I will help them if they get in trouble, but I don't really help them much. I want them to feel what it's like paying their own bills, making their own money, dealing with their own problems. But I'm there if shit hits the fan. So there's a safety net, but I'm letting them pretty much, as far as they're concerned, I don't have any money.
That's how don't let them know any different. So
that's how it was with me. My dad never gave me shit, and it forced me to go out and figure shit out. And I'm glad now in retrospect that that's what he did, because it made me resourceful.
Yes.
And I think that's part of my success. At the end of the day, dude, there's a lot of people out there that were handed everything, and then now they expect everything, and they can't figure shit out for themselves. They think literally
they don't have real life skills because they don't know how to overcome anything. I'm working on that. So it used to be give my oldest everything. You know, the other three still live with me. But now I have a house that I own that they live in, but they pay all their bills, all their car payments, everything. They just live there for free. So they still have a lot of bills. And he works, and she's wanting to open a company that I'm going to invest in, but it's her company and she's got to run it and do her thing, and she's going to be responsible. But I'm doing a little bit at a time, right? Like you don't feed an elephant everything. You feed one bite at a time. So I'm trying to groom, because I screwed up, like, here it is. And then I realized, ooh, there's no life skills there. I got to help out. So you guys are responsible for all your bills. I'm going to cover where you live. Here's the house you can live in that I have. Now you guys start stacking paper and paying your other bills off, and being able to, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to use my own money so you can appreciate things more.
Yeah. Is this all in your book, Own Your Power? By the way, folks, he's got a book out there, or it's about to be out.
Yep.
Own Your Power. No excuses, no bullshit. Your time is now. What are you talking about in that book?
8 principles of life to really have a no excuse life. You know, like chapter 1 is create your own map. I talked about, where I had that, how the fuck did I get here moment, winning the Entrepreneur of the Year award, and then, changing my life of not allowing my future ex-mother or my future mother-in-law to not allow me to see my daughter born, right? You have to take control of your life. Same thing in business. People told me, you can't open a company. You've never went to school. Like, you have to create your own map. And then there's the other one, love your haters, right? Like, you got to love haters. They fuel you. They're scared money don't make money, right? You want to bet on yourself. A lot of these principles and chapters that are in there, they're stories personally and business that I've had to overcome, that I can give knowledge back, where people out there that will read it that are, they hate their dead end job, and maybe they want to go open their own business, or maybe they don't know how to ask for a promotion or apply for a promotion or apply for a certain job, or maybe they're handcuffed. I have one called Don't Be Held Hostage. Maybe they're in a relationship because they have kids and they feel like they have to be there. You don't have to do anything. You can pick your own map. You can do whatever you want. You can't be held hostage. Maybe they're running a company and they're held hostage by employees that as their top salespeople, and they've been built on that one employee. And I'm like, this teaches you to build systems to where you're not held hostage, that everyone's replaceable. So that's kind of what the book's about.
I see a lot of people holding themselves hostage.
Yeah.
They just don't know it.
That's true.
create your own map. That's one of the things I do this. I call it freaking, success tips, but one of them is visualize and map out where it is you want to go. Cause a lot of times when I ask people, well, what do you want out of life? They go, and that just shows that it's not crystal clear.
Right.
They don't have it mapped out. They don't visualize that shit every day. What do you think about laws of attraction?
I think it's important. I think that, if you're attracted to something, the mind wants, the heart wants what it wants, and you've got to either follow through with it or not.
Yeah. Well, I know visualization works, and that's a fucking fact.
Yeah.
They did a study where a basketball team, they had 3 teams, one practice, one think about practicing, and one not practicing. The one that practiced improved 24%. The one that thought about practicing improved 23%. And the one that didn't practice didn't improve. So literally the team that just mentally visualized shooting free throws improved as much as the ones that actually did practice. That's crazy shit. And there's multiple studies like that.
It is crazy. I never even thought of it that way.
Dude, I'm telling you, visualization is unbelievably powerful. I so believe in laws of attraction. It's unbelievable. The wife I have now, I freaking ordered her exactly
in your mind,
like she is.
It's perfect.
I said, man, I need a wife that's this and this and that and this and that. And it's exactly what I got. It's unbelievable.
And it wasn't an order bride like you get online, right?
No.
Just making sure.
I ordered her from the universe.
There you go.
She's from Bothell, Washington, bro.
I love it.
The ones you order come from somewhere else.
Well, you said order. I ordered her perfectly. I knew what you meant, but I just wanted the listeners to know that you didn't order a male bride. We're good.
No, not a mail order. It's not a mail bride for sure. Not a mail order bride. But yeah, create your own map, man. That's an important one. So the other one is love your haters. You said the third one was what?
Don't be held hostage.
Okay, what's the fourth?
Team out.
Do what?
Team out.
Team out.
Yeah. So like you can't put your ego in place of not building a team around you. Life and business are like a puzzle. And if you don't focus on surrounding yourself with people that can elevate you and elevate your team or elevate your business or elevate your personal life, then you're not teaming out. You're stuck in solo mode and you're just doing things on your own, and you're literally on your own, and your ego and everything weighs you down, and your potential of growth is only so high. So, I love it.
That's a good one. Dude, I'm just learning this. But, you always catch yourself going, well, nobody can do what I do and nobody can do it like me, and I have to be the one that does it. Well, if you do that, bro, all you're going to do is make yourself a job. It's a cage. Well, I'm the owner. It doesn't matter, dude. There's a lot of people I know that own a business and they're locked into 12 to 15-hour days. They still can't take vacations. They still can't enjoy life. So when you have a business and you do it that way, dude, you're basically building yourself a job. You're building yourself a cage. Mm-hmm. And if you leverage what you just said, or understand that principle, and you build that, by the time you're done, you've built yourself a business, and now you can go enjoy life a little bit. 3 years ago is when I learned that, because the first 2 companies I was building in the first couple of years in the solar business with Power Home Solar, I tried to do everything. And it's because I'll be honest, I treat business like war. Meaning if everybody's online here and they can't shoot the fucking gun and make sure that we're safe and we're out to win this war, they need to get the hell off. I have an 80-20 rule, meaning I believe 20% of your staff does 80% of your work. The next 60% does 20% of your work. And that bottom 20% is holding everybody down and bitching and complaining. I want to get them off the front line and move on. And so I have to have this mindset. And so because I have that mindset and I'm just so involved in the business, it couldn't grow. Now that mindset's still good to have 80-20, but I'm involved where I'm making decisions here and I'm making decisions here. And I have all these great people. Let's consider them plants or trees. They can't grow because I'm taking all the sunshine, right? I'm not letting them grow. I'm not moving over so they can grow and help the business and help me. I was structured and holding and hovering over everything. Like you said, trying to do everything myself. 3 years ago when I moved to Michigan, I was away from corporate office. I got a little depressed, right? Because I was like FOMO, like I'm not involved with the corporate officers. I'm not involved in this part of the business. I'm on my own. So it took a couple months till I was working from home, but then it allowed us to grow. I negotiated all these relationships with the NFL teams. I started helping open up other states. I started, doing our TV commercials, started managing our marketing differently and our brand differently. We were able to expand, but I was able to focus on future vision and growth and not run the company and allow the team that I put together
Sometimes you make mistakes. You got to replace team members. It's like in a war, like that guy can't hold the line, move on. But as you get the right people and you can trust them, that's what happened. They started building the other parts of the business and they started shining and those trees started growing because I allowed the sun to be there because I was looking at the future and bringing those pieces in to do things. And I think as entrepreneurs, we're so used to doing everything on our own. Nobody's there to help us. We've got great employees, but nobody's there to help us. We have to find a way. And I learned it. Like, I had to get a CEO coach. That was important. I had to have more humility and have gratitude. I had to understand that I'm not great at everything and I don't have to do everything. I just have to do one or two things really, really, really good and then find people that can do other things that complement me. And I always say the Avengers are stronger than Superman. And so putting that team, yeah, they are. I love Superman.
No.
But when you got 5 people that got superhero power, you can really change the game. And so I had to trust them, and you have to have that leap of faith to trust your team to grow the business and function on running the business as you're looking at the future.
What if you can't find them though?
It is hard, but it's just like running a company you're trying to sell. I mean, you're the king of closing sales too. Like you got to get no's. You're going to have to fail. I hired a VP of sales. She's the devil. Right? She came in, quit, joined another company, stole a bunch of trade secrets. I mean, it was a nightmare. I've had bad hires on the executive team. But then I was telling you earlier, I brought in our president because I didn't know what EBITDA was 3 years ago. I knew that I was in waters that I couldn't manage. And it's all about the brand. It's not about Jayson Waller. It's about the company. And if I think I know everything and I can hurt the company by not knowing everything, then I'm a liability.
But what if like in my case, Lightspeed, most people don't understand that like 20 years ago, there were no online training systems. I literally was the first one. And in my mind, well, who knows it now? Like, where do I find people? Do I go try and recruit people from other online learning companies? Like, you can't just walk in here from running a franchise restaurant business or, even though you might be a successful CEO somewhere else, I don't think someone can just walk in here and understand it all. Or do you think that's possible?
I think it is possible. I'm not one that thinks your background really matters. I'm about character. I'm about who you are, what your mantra is. Do you believe in it? Can you get behind the movement? Are you passionate? And do you want to grow? Are you coachable? Because you can teach skill sets. You can train them on how this works, but you can't train them on giving you 110% effort and wanting and believing in something that you believe in. And that's why I think it's important when businesses start to go from solo entrepreneur doing things on their own to becoming an entrepreneur and maybe running more of a corporate organization, you have got to have some kind of incentive, whether it be a gain share, whether it be a bonus, whether it be sweat equity, whatever it is, where now they have skin in the game and there's an opportunity for them to grow. Now they feel like they own it. They care like you do. No one will ultimately care like you do. Like I've got great executives and I love them and they don't sleep, but listen, I put everything on my shoulders for a reason, but they're the closest thing to that.
Yeah.
And that's important. Each one of them has a gain share or sweat equity or something where they're a partner. It's not Jason's show. I might call the shots. I might have the most equity, but they had an opportunity as long as they delivered on their KPIs and the results to get there, which benefit me, benefit them, benefits the brand. We treat our employees the same way. And I think when you do that and you have everybody rowing in the same direction, it gets good. And you can teach skill sets and you can teach systems and you can teach different things in business, but you can't teach passion. You can't teach hard work. You can't teach integrity. And those are the things that you got to find. They could be working at a fucking deli shop and come in and just change your world. Be like, our top director right now was a fucking bartender 4 years ago. He's been promoted 5 times.
What's
Bartender. He probably makes $350,000 a year.
So you got a lot of growth happening. How many employees you up to?
2,100.
Damn. And then you're recruiting people left and right. You're hiring, training.
And we're firing 20% a month. People are like, why is that? I said, look, if I wanted to be UPS and just stay stagnant, I would worry about retaining. I only want to retain winners. I only want to retain those that can manage the front line when we're at war. So 20% is churn and burn. If you didn't have results this month and you're in the bottom 20%, I don't care if you're in customer service. I don't care if you're in sales. I don't care if you're in collections, installations, doesn't matter. You're in the bottom 20%, right? You're going to go on a pit plan. You are still there next month. You're fired. They know ahead of time. Like, that's our rule. We don't want people that can't perform. You're in sales. I'm in sales. Everyone's got excuses. Sales is like golf. Our score is our score. The excuses are all the same. We still have out of bounds. We still have sand bunkers. The excuses are the same. So I'm results driven. And as long as you do that, that's how we grow like a rocket ship.
And that's also how you hold people accountable without making it a personal.
Correct.
I was going to teach this program to business owners Because I realized that I used to say I care too much. I don't want to fire people. I care too much. But when you really think about it, you don't care enough. What I mean by that is, let's say you have one clown that you care about and you don't want to fire him. You want to keep giving him chance after chance. But what about the other 50 people on your team?
It's not fair to them.
It's not fair. But guess what? If you think you care too much, you're saying basically you care about this guy so much, fuck the rest of these people.
I know.
Which means you don't care enough. Because if you cared enough, you would care about 49 people and you'd say, sorry, dude, I care so much, I got to fucking let you go.
Why should other people pick up his slack and get paid the same? That's the problem. I have the same mindset. I used to care too much. I used to be manipulated. I used to be held hostage. Oh, if that rep leaves, I'm in trouble. Oh, I feel bad. Let me give him another chance. No, like when you put a line in the sand and it's accountability based on results, it's never personal, you can manage and run your company so much better. And I do that even at an executive level.
Yeah.
The executives report to me and they have KPIs. I love those guys. They're like brothers. But I could put my foot up somebody's ass real quick and say, hey, this isn't cutting it. You're going to have to get better now. Like, everyone's got to be accountable. I'm accountable for the entire thing. So if one of them's not doing their job, that's me not doing my job.
Well, I think like that, but my problem when it boils down to dumping them is, well, shit, dude, someone off the street's not going to do any better.
Well, so we promote within most cases. Now, here's where we suck at that. And that's why I love what your program is, because training is key. So every one of our regionals and our directors, and we have several of them in the sales side, it's like 400 or 500 total employees in sales, 400 or 500 in installations. And up there is 2 directors at the top, 5 regionals, and then a project manager, a district manager at all 25 locations. That's all your management team.
And you're doing solar installations.
Solar sales installations, yes. And we do it from A to Z, meaning when you sign up to get to the loan, the interconnection, the permitting, the design, structural letter, everything, the installation, the equipment, everything we do from A to Z. We don't sub any of that out. But on the sales end, like I just mentioned, the regionals and the directors, they started as an entry-level field energy consultant. And then what happens is they were really good. And when we opened up a new office, they had an opportunity to apply for an ADM, which is an assistant district manager. And then if they were really good, they go to DM, which is one of our 25 locations. And then after DM, we have 5 regionals. They get promoted. Well, we have these success stories. So when you hire employees, there's a couple things they care about. 1, some of them care about the coin. That's great. You should care about the coin. But 2, they care about career advancement. Like, how am I going to move up? When you have real life stories of, look at all of these leaders in our sales and production side, they all started at the bottom and moved up. As we grew, they grew. So it's next man or lady up, right? So boom, you put them in. And that's what happens.
What's another thing they care about?
Oh, and then the third thing is the culture and protecting the brand. Everything's about the brand. You just mentioned it. When you care about that 1 and not the 49, you're killing your brand to be personal on that 1. You have to protect your brand first. I protect the brand more than me. If we had a company offer us some money on a public standpoint, a public company to buy us, and I said no, because we would have lost control and my executive team probably could have been chopped up and there were other things in there that I didn't like, but I don't want to lose control. My employees, having a business is like an extra kid. It'd be my 5th child. I can't walk away from that. I want to be there to make sure that they all have a life-changing event. I want to get them a stock or IPO where they're going in and cashing $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 worth of stock for just helping build this movement together. That to me is what it's about. And it's hard to really get everyone to understand that when you're hiring someone like, oh yeah, you're blowing smoke. Like, that's our real culture. Yeah. They're all rowing the same way. And some people are like, it's a cult. No, it's because we believe in it together.
Well, it is a cult.
Well, but it's our cult.
Yeah.
And we're okay with that.
People are saying cult like it's a bad thing.
It could be a good thing. In ours, it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. I mean, it could be a good thing.
Yeah.
But culture is culture. It's culture.
You got to drop the bomb on that. That's good.
Well, it's here, I'll do it. But, people ask me all the time, how do you attract stallions? The race horses, the kick-ass people. I said, listen, stallions run with stallions. If you have a bunch of turkeys and a stallion walks in, they're not going to stick around. Why? Because stallions run with stallions. I said, there's 3 things they care about. Compensation, you said coin. I said organization, meaning there's no fucking chaos. There's systems and processes. It's clear how you do shit and get shit done. And then the last but not least, culture. And by the way, that might even be first.
Yeah.
But in my finding, and again, I'm still, learning, but my finding, compensation's how you get them. Mm-hmm. Culture's how you keep them.
Correct.
Because they'll leave, dude.
And they believe in the dream when they see their peers and they see people, oh, you've only been here 2 years and you're a regional. You've only been here 6 months and you're a manager. They know there's real opportunity. You have to show them that.
Yeah.
We don't bring anyone on the sales side or installation side from the outside. We want them power home trained and bred and from the bottom up. We're good with that. Now, when it comes to HR or accounting or customer, we'll hire some, we'll look at resumes, but the other ones, I don't give a shit about resumes. I care about who they are, how strong they want to work, what do they believe in, what is their personality, can they get behind the movement, do they have integrity, are they hungry? Those are the people we want at the front end and the back end of the business. The middle part of the business management, that's where we kind of go through and look at resumes and experience.
And is it like cut and dry? Like, what if I sold Lightspeed and I said, fuck, bro, I'll come work for you, man. Give me a cushy sales manager job somewhere.
Couldn't do it.
You'd say you have to start selling?
Yeah, I could do it. I could bring you in marketing. I can bring you somewhere else. Say, hey, Brad, like we put you as a VP of marketing or do something like that. But it would break the system we've built. And the problem is so many of these solar companies out here, they sell it wrong. They're selling the leases and the PPAs. We don't do any of that. Ours are loans. That's why it's called Own Your Power. My book's Own Your Power. Our motto at Power Home is Own Your Power. When we sit in somebody's home, Brad, we say, what's the longest bill in your house? They go, my mortgage. No, it's your power bill and it always goes up. What if I told you we can reduce about 80% of that, get you a fixed payment with an end date and that energy's free after that. And we'll get you battery and storage so you're never left in the dark. Their light bulbs go off, they're ready to rock and roll. That's how we get our clients.
Who developed that pitch? You?
Me.
And then you documented it?
I just kept doing it and then I shared it and I helped do the training. Then we hired trainers, then they did it and it's evolved. But that was one of the lines that I used when I first started the business. And that was before battery and storage came out. I was like, look, what's your longest bill in the house? Because
when you say longest, what does that mean?
Like how long people think I'm going to be paying my mortgage for 30 years. That's the longest bill. Power, you're paying forever. There's no end date. The utility company's not going to go, hey, Brad, pay this for 15 years and you're done. No, that's the longest bill in your house. That and water. That's it. So, and it goes up. So when a customer hears that and they understand, and then you're like, look, what we're doing is reducing your utility bill and then financing your solar for around that amount, and you own it. It's on your roof. It's your asset. You get the tax credits. And then at the end payment end date, that's free energy. You win. The light bulb goes off and they go, that makes sense. That's how solar works.
And you have your own financing?
So we use 4 different companies for financing now. We are working on doing our own financing. And we did $63 million in sales last month. $64 million in sales last month. It was our best month ever.
Damn, dude. That's some coin.
It's pretty good.
And you're growing. So if someone's listening to this right now, they're in solar and they said, dude, this sounds like a company I want to be involved with. Can they come?
They can go to powerhome.com/careers. It's hard for us to hire salespeople. It's rare. I mean, they take a lot of tests and get interviewed extensively because a lot of the companies out there have bad culture, trait bad habits. We almost like people to be educators, and we started from the beginning, because in our business, you don't have to like sell anything. You're just educating them. And as long as you're passionate, you believe in it, and you educate them, they're going to say yes, because it makes sense.
What if they're one of those solar companies that are just really reps because they don't install and they don't manufacture? They're just reps. Selling the job.
Well, that's what we would do. We would have to train them our way and make sure that they're not used to selling another way. A lot of the dealers out there have sold the wrong way. As long as they go through our training, when we give everyone a shot, we just prefer to groom people from the bottom up. But if they had the reps, we'd bring them in as reps. And if they were a manager, we'd bring them in as reps, prove something in 60 or 90 days. One of the first openings, you can apply for it. Like we're never they just have to earn it.
Are they independent or no?
No, everyone's a W-2 employee.
Wow. That's different too.
And we have, almost 1,000 vehicles out there. They're all driving wrapped vehicles and everything.
Looking cool. You got a cool brand.
I do. I love our brand. Our marketing team does a good job.
And it's called Power Home.
Yep. Power Home Solar.
And how did you come up with that name?
So the security company I was a part of before that was called Power Home Technologies. So we created the name Power Home Solar, and then the other 2 partners in it, and it was me, Kevin, and 2 other guys, Ben and Eric. We had a fallen out somewhat, and they wanted to stay doing home security. We sold the company. And so Kevin and I wanted to do solar. And so I paid them a little bit of money of what we invested in that and opened the solar company. In the first 2 years, they thought, hell yeah, look, he paid us and he didn't do nothing. Now it's like, oh my goodness. But the good news is Ben's still a good friend of mine, and now he's our chief sales officer, because when his employment agreement, when we sold the security company, ended, he put his ego to the side. He's going to open a solar company, reached out to me. We started talking. I said, don't do that. Let me bring you in. Let me get you some sweat equity you can earn, some gain share. Let's make this happen. There's no reason for you to start over. Let's get you a piece of the pie and work for it. And so, but it was different for him because he was the CEO of that company. I was the COO, and the company before I was the CEO. So they purchased me. I joined there. We built that company from 18 million to almost 40 million in sales. And then there's too many chiefs in the kitchen. And look, he's a good number one, and I'm a good number two, but I'm a great number one and he's a great number two. And I think we both understand that now that time has passed.
So why solar?
Changes the world. It allows people energy independence, right? So I did home security and I felt like it was diluted. Too many companies were doing that. Power companies, phone companies were selling home security systems. And it was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I got in the cell phone business in 2000, 2001, where I was selling Blackberries for Bell Atlantic / Verizon Wireless. And I remember sitting in boardrooms as a 22-year-old kid saying, hey, this is the future and you're not going to use fax machines anymore. This is it. People would look at it like an alien, but they wanted to know what it was. I feel solar is at that point where people are like, man, that's really cool. What does that mean? And the more solar you sell, the more solar you sell because people see it and then they want solar. They feel like, oh, I need to keep up with the Joneses. They're creating their own power and they're never left in the dark. And, they don't have power outages. So when I saw that ability to do that and make a difference and impact people's life and give them that energy independence, and it saves the planet. I mean, I don't know how much it saves the planet. I think cars are a bigger problem than the EVs coming out, but I think it helps. I think the way utility companies make power now is disgusting. Like burning coal and then taking that coal ash and sticking it in water and it starts infecting and giving people cancer because it's arsenic. That's a problem. And so we need to look at renewable energy as a resource because we need the power anyways and a clean way to do this going forward. Now, do I think putting solar on your house is going to stop global warming? No, but I think we have to do things to help. And I think that's part of it.
What if the solar's like in a Pacific Northwest area where there's not a lot of sun?
It's a great question. My second market was Michigan, and it's my best market because the cost of power is so high. So it's a science. So Arizona, we're not in, but you get so much sun. Everyone's like, solar would be great there. Well, the cost of power is super duper cheap. So if the cost of power is super cheap and you've got to finance the solar and you can produce all this energy because of the sun, it might not offset. So I'll give you the example. North Carolina was 10 cents a watt. Michigan was 16 cents a watt. We would agree that 16 over 10 is 60% more for power in Michigan than North Carolina. When we go to PV watts, which is the government Department of Energy standard to be able to measure solar and PV days that you get in sunshine days, Michigan was only 15% less PV production because solar works in the gray clouds. So if you take 60 minus 15%, our Michigan customers get a return 45% better than our southern customers in North Carolina. And that's why that's our largest state, because that's why New York's big in solar, Minnesota's big in solar, California's big in solar. Anytime cost of power is so high, financing solar makes the most sense. You're gonna get some sunshine. That's irrelevant. You're not Alaska, where it's dark for 4 months. You're gonna get sunshine, and the sun works in the gray cloud. So Seattle's a good city for solar as long as the cost of power is high.
So if there's overcast, it's still coming through. So it should be like UV panels.
Well, it is. It's PV panels, but it's similar to that. It works just like UV. You get sunburn in the gray. You can also, solar still works in the gray. In fact, if it gets too hot out, like Arizona weather, even Nevada weather, it's not going to work as great as it would, maybe in March here in Nevada.
Yeah.
Because it likes somewhere between 80 and 95 degrees and as much sunshine as possible. Once it gets over that, it's not at 100% efficiency because it's too hot. That's what happens.
What about creating a new kind of solar panel? Like every time I told you earlier I was going to do solar, just because everyone I know is just killing it. And it's like not that hard of a sell if somebody has a brain in their head.
Yeah. If you explain it correct, it's super simple.
Yeah. So it's like, I'm starting to think, what can be revolutionary? Because the only thing I don't like about solar is the way they look. They look like shit. Now imagine if you
new panels look like these screens. They look like glass screens with no lines in them. They look pretty cool.
But I mean, what if the panel was the tile?
So that's out.
Is it?
Yeah. Dow has that and so does Tesla.
So the tile roof is just all panels?
So it's for those that go, I want to go solar and it looks pretty. It really doesn't do shit, but it looks great.
But can't you make something that does?
The efficiency's not there. So I've been in solar 6 years.
Because it's not flat?
No, it's not about being flat. It's about getting getting so much power into the panel. You need a bigger panel, right? And so the smaller the panel, the less efficiency, and it's more work. You got to wire it, and it's losing a certain amount of juice putting the wires in to go to the inverter. So when you do the the tile solar panels. The problem is you can fill up the whole roof and it's doing, way less than a normal system would. So it's cool for someone to say, hey, I went solar and it looks good, maybe. But you're not getting your bang for your buck. What I tell people, because we do tile roofs all the time, if you don't like the way it looks, which I think it's cool. 4 years ago, it looked like shit, but now it's like, it looks sleek. It looks like glass. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. But what you could do is you could always put a little bit of turf out in the yard and put the solar panels right there and have your own little power system that's shining right to the south. A little white picket fence, and it looks cool as shit. In fact, it's a cool little asset in the backyard to go, hey, yeah, that's my solar system right there. Like, people get a hoot out of that. Like, looking at a barbecue or pool or water fountain. That's what that could be. And so we've done a lot of that as well.
What about like awning?
That's roofs? Out too. Yeah, that's a great idea. There's a company out there that does that. We've seen that. We've been approached to try to offer that as well.
Because there's people that pay to build a freaking overhang awning for the sun to be blocked. Why not just make the top of that solar?
Well, I'm about to give you a big bomb. So people out there that own storage units, right? They're just sitting there with all that roof space and nothing to do. One of my goals back in the day, my company's doing well now. I don't need to get into that business, so I'll share my secret.
Everybody right now listening.
Everybody write this down.
They're going to go.
But if you think about it, if you own those storage units and you just go put solar on there and you're just selling the power back to the utility company, it's just revenue for nothing. Those roofs are sitting there anyways. It's a no-brainer. I actually looked at that model a few years ago. Like, I should go buy a couple of these things and do it, and I haven't. Nor do I have the time. I can only drink so much from the fire hydrant. But that's a great idea. And think about any business you own. Solar is an investment that pays you back. People want the power. The power company's going to buy it back and sell it to other people at a premium. It's a good investment, especially if you own business or you own real estate or you own properties that got roof space that's not doing anything. You can do that.
What about financing? Pretty much anyone with a breath gets financed? Or
yeah,
not?
As long as they're over 625 credit score.
They have to own the house.
They have to own the home.
And what if they're renting the home, but they can get the owner to say yes?
We usually don't mess around with that because it's always a little shady. But
what do you mean?
Like,
shady?
Well, they got to get the homeowner involved. We're a one-call close, meaning you filled out a form, you went through the qualifications, and we already know you own the home. If you're renting the home, we just don't call you. Like,
what do you do? What do you do with all the declines?
Right now, nothing. We're coming up with different products. We have the declines, yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, shit, maybe you just give me the declines, let me give them a call.
There you go. Hey, so, we have looked at what else we can do, when they decline. Our decline on credit is maybe 20%. It's not high because we're pre-qualifying them before we go out there.
But I mean, if there was a lot of declines, I know a guy with a credit business that literally, dude, this guy
fixes their credit.
Instantly.
So we do have a company that does that we've shared information with. That they've worked with them before. They sign a form, they reach out to that company, they get their credit fixed, they call us back. We've talked to them about it, but we would be jumping over dollars to get dimes on our resources.
Man, you still got dollars to pick up.
We still got dollars.
You get the dimes later.
That's correct.
Dude, I know a guy in the roofing business. He always has an event every year. And he was telling me one day that, a lot of these solar guys, they don't understand that there's certain loans that you can get to include doors and windows and roofs as well.
We're a roofing company also.
Yeah.
So we don't go out and storm chase, which there's nothing wrong with that. And there's a lot of companies that do that, and I get it. It's a great business model. But we have about 10% of our customers that need a new roof. And I got really pissed off in 2016 when we were sitting here and you signed up for solar and you had a bad roof. If it has less than 15 years, we got to get you a new roof. So we would have to contact a roofing company, and we're held hostage and stuck at his mercy to whenever he feels like doing the roof. And then we can get you the solar. And I was like, this is bullshit. We're already paying for the insurance. We have the staff. We spend so much money doing this. Let us work with the roofing vendors and let us do it ourselves. So that's what we did. So at 10% of our customers, we actually quote the roof at wholesale, right? So where most companies come in and overbid it, because they're trying to get paid, we're wanting to do the solar. So we do that at wholesale and we roll it into one loan for them, and then they're happy.
So if someone's wanting a new roof, call a solar company.
That's right. You get both.
And you get it cheaper.
That's right.
Because they're not looking to make it on the roof.
Yeah, we make it on the solar. And we feel good about what we do because, we're GAF Elite certified. We do everything we're supposed to do with all the manufacturers. We get, all the testing done and everything. And we buy enough from them. And, we won a whole thing. We did put solar at Carolina Panther Stadium. We won an award because we also did the roof. It was a big deal.
So, dude, back in the day, you were driving a limousine on weekends just to support the fam bam.
It's true.
And now you're making zillions of bucks rolling around.
I don't know about zillions, but yeah.
Well, you're on your way. But a lot of people are probably wondering, what was the one driving thing that you would credit that to? Because there's people right now listening to this podcast that are driving those limos.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people say, oh, people aren't willing to work. Well, that's generalized. There are people willing to work. They just don't know what to do. So that's number one why I did the podcast, is to just, drop bombs on problems and challenges and situations. I already guarantee there's someone listening to this that are right now running out and starting to call these people that own storage companies. They're like, shit, dude. Because why wouldn't you if you owned a storage company?
It's a no-brainer.
It's stupid.
I just helped a lot of solar companies out there. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I mean, how come you don't just get a list of anyone that owns solar storage companies and just start hitting them up? It's like a niche. Or any
commercial property. Why wouldn't you? The roof is sitting there.
Or schools.
We've done some schools. We've done EV stations for cities and schools.
What about this building?
I'd have to look at it. You should do this building.
Someone said that there's not enough roof space up there when you get up there.
Well, whatever you get offsets something.
Yeah, but what about those awnings out there? You see them?
That's a good idea too. Yeah,
your
mind could just race with so many things where you can put it.
And it's not hard to do, huh?
No.
It's just freaking signing a piece of paper, buying the shit, and next thing you know, the sun's paying your bills.
That's correct. You can't. It's not like signing up and we show up tomorrow. You have to get permitting and all that. So usually, if we sign someone up, it's about 45 days till we put it in. It's a day or two installation.
Well, I think there's like renters. No one messes with renters.
There's programs coming out. There's finance companies coming out for low credit. There's finance companies coming out for rental PPA programs, which we probably won't do.
I know, but I'm just showing people opportunity. Like, if a renter can call their homeowner, and say, "I'd like to get solar on this deal," and somehow talks the homeowner into wanting it, is there any kind of bird dog you're allowed to pay the renter?
Yeah, we have a referral partner program that we give out, a couple $1,000s. So
any recurring?
No,
because those wattages, they pay you forever, don't they?
No, so how we do it is we're selling the paper, right? So we do the installation, and then a bank does the financing, and we're buying down that loan. So we pay a lot of points to buy it down, and then they get like a 299 25-year loan or a 399 20-year loan, depending if they get battery or storage. And then they are paying the Lone Pals or the Sunlights of the world, right? Where that's not our customer. Now, when we have the paper, but it's a loan.
Yeah, but someone told me if I send them people to sell solar, they'll pay me an override on all
because it's going to be the PPA and the leases. So and the problem with those, that's why you're seeing like the Teslas and the Sunruns change their model to go more to a purchase, is they went out and they're like, "Hey, Brad, you pay 19 cents a watt. If you sign up and let us put our solar on, we won't charge you anything. We'll own it. You'll lease it, and we'll charge you 17 cents a watt. You save money, high five." Well, sounds good. Problem is, you go to sell your house, you're tied to this lease. You can't add value to your home and sell it. You're tied to the lease. So the guy moving in has to get the lease. Otherwise, you're in trouble. They're not going to charge you for the system. You have a lease. They want all the power. That's more to them than them selling you the system. Why do they do the leases? Because they get the tax bracket. They get the tax pickup, the tax credits that usually a homeowner would get, and they get the depreciation because it's a business that owns that thing on your home. So it's a way for that company, a Tesla or Sunrun, to be more valuable, and a way for you to just rent power from them instead of the utility company. But then when they have issues or something goes wrong or it doesn't work, like, it just becomes a nightmare. So now you're starting to see people get upset about that, and that's where a lot of those referrals you're talking about, they're like, "Oh, we'll pay you per this," because they're getting paid for that rent, for renting the power. Ours isn't that way. You buy it, you get the tax credits, you get the appreciation of the home, you get to sell it with the home and it adds value, and you get the end date where when you're buying it, there's an end date. When you're leasing it, it's power forever you're paying for.
So did you ever lose deals to those people?
Never. After we explain the benefits of both, they're always like, "Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. We don't want to rent that." Like, I ask people, "Do you want to rent your home or do you want to buy your home?" "I want to buy my home." "Well, then why would you pay around the same thing to just pay them and never have an end date? What are you doing? Pay yourself back. This has an end date and that power's for free. What if I sell my house in 10 years? Then add $30,000 or $40,000 to your home, because that power bill's $50 instead of $500, and they're going to appreciate that. They'll pay more." Yeah. That's the deal.
So I might have sidetracked you. My question was, and it just popped in my head again, what do you think the number one thing was that got you from a limo to a freaking multi-million-dollar CEO?
I think it was trying, failing, learning, and going. I had this chip on my shoulder from my mother-in-law, but I had this chip on the shoulder from people in high school, my family members, everybody saying I couldn't do it. And I knew I had a knack to sell. I knew I was a relationship person. I love to talk to people. I can enroll people. Everybody has a superhero power. Mine is getting people to like be inspired, be like, oh, I want to do what he's doing. Like I'm an exciting, high energy dude that draws them in. And so I felt like the more people told me no, I couldn't, the more pissed off and motivated I was. And that drove me in fact, in my book, I thank all the haters. I'm like, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here, because it drove me so much to prove them wrong. And I didn't get off the mission or the map of going, I'm only doing this, but I wanted to make sure I did that. And I saw the rest area and gave it a big number 1 as I drove by so they can see the success. And my belief on haters is I want more haters. I want them to watch. I want them to get their popcorn, get their soda, get their soda, get their licorice. I'm going to put on a show. You watch me and I'm going to watch me and I'm going to succeed because I'm not watching you. I want to be happy for people that are successful. I don't want to hate on them. I want to learn from people that have more than me or have been through different experiences or know more than me that I can be better. Haters don't do that. And I think haters really pushed me because they told me I couldn't. And I would fail and I would pick up the pieces and do it again and do it again. It was just hard drive, but it was not being scared to take a risk and loving the haters, making them as my fuel.
And what 3 books would you say you've read, or do you read books?
That's a great question. So I wrote a book, but I've never read a book. And when I was asked to write a book, I was like, I've never even read a book. Why the hell would I write a book? And so I ended up writing a book, and, it comes out October 16th. I'm excited about it, but I just never had the time to read the book. I've listened to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like half of it, but I have never read a book.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
See, and that's why I always tell people, like, you always hear these gurus, I'm included when it comes to reading because I never did either. And then I started, dude, night and day. Like, if you read books, dude, I'm telling you right now, dude, you'd be 5 times more successful than you are.
I got to read them then.
You got to read them.
I got to at least listen to them. I don't have the ADD to sit there and read them.
Well, I mean, you don't have to because you're doing fine just on your own. Like, I knew this guy once that just crushed it in life. And, he would always tell me, well, I don't have to, which is true. You don't have to. But I believe that if there's people out there struggling right now, every single day they should crack a book, read 10, 20, 30 pages, because that information doesn't always get used, but that information comes in, causes you to think.
Yep.
And as soon as you start thinking for yourself and stop listening to everybody else, you start giving yourself a little more credit, start getting yourself a little more trust, start getting a little more momentum. You start feeling like you're a little smarter, you're a little more knowledgeable. And I think it gives people this freaking advantage or a little shove. And with a little momentum, man, people can do crazy shit with momentum.
I agree. And look, I should, and I probably will eventually, because I don't like going into a room where I don't know everything. I don't like to people to have that advantage. And there are things I don't know. I mentioned earlier, I didn't know what EBITDA meant. Now I do, right? And now I'm involved with our finance side all the time. So I understand all of the stuff, because if we're going to go public, I need to know that, and I got to run the right team, but I don't have to know everything. I do need to find time to read books, not only for that, because, I mentioned to you earlier, I have a CEO coach. It's like a business therapist, the best thing I ever did. I also talk to a therapist, but a book is another way to put me between the buoys and guide me with more knowledge. And knowledge is key. Yeah. And mine's all been on experience and failure to give me knowledge. So if I take the time to listen or read, which I need to challenge myself to do that, then it'll be a game changer, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to have you back on one of these days when you go public, because you're going public. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your book's out.
Book comes out October 12th.
October 12th. Where do they get it?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, any of the spots.
So why October 12th? That's just when they said it'll
That's
be
the
done?
Launch date. So right now you can pre-order it, but that's the launch date.
Where can you pre-order it?
On Amazon.
Amazon. Pre-order it on Amazon, folks. If you guys ain't following this dude, at Jayson Waller, BAM. Why BAM?
So I have this slogan called Building a Movement. BAM. One panel, one customer, one employee at a time. And then I did the same thing for the podcast. It's BAM, building a moment, right? Capturing those moments and giving it back. And so I trademarked BAM, and it started from, we used to say boom, and that was the old company. And my son corrected me 5 years ago. I was like, Dad, you need to say something else besides boom. Say BAM. And then I had to think of an acronym that went with BAM, which was building a movement. And all our employees are all in on that movement. So it's always BAM. So I did Jayson Waller BAM. It's stuck.
Yeah, Jayson, folks. And dude, I can tell you, this dude's a badass. I text him out of courtesy because this morning somebody here was tested for COVID and had a positive test. So obviously I'm not a dick. I wanted him here to do the podcast, but I'm thinking, well, shit, dude, I'd want to be warned at least. So I texted him. I said, dude, just out of courtesy, man, someone here was tested positive for COVID this morning. They were sent home. You want to reschedule or risk it? And he said, I'll fucking risk it. He said, I've already had it twice. Shit, I could use it a third time. I need to lose a few pounds.
That's right. That's right. I play for a tie. I work out all the time, but I eat like shit. That could just accelerate my weight loss. I just need the help.
That's funny. Guys, you can't get someone more battle tested, down to earth, and ready to share his knowledge. Go pick up his book. Go follow him on social media and make sure you share this out. If you guys are in the solar business, I'd look him up quick because, again, it sounds like that whole shift is going to happen one way or the other to where eventually those PPAs and those leases aren't happening anymore anyway.
Yeah, they created their own loan products. They're on the right path now, but that's, that's the model that needs to happen. People want to own and have that energy independence. They don't want to keep paying somebody forever.
Well, dude, I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me, dude.
And until next time, kids, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Bradley. Subscribe now.